Okay, so here's the last part of our family law saga. We've covered marriage, we've covered property. Now let's talk about the part that really keeps courts busy, and that's going to be custody, parentage, and what happens when families break up and need the law to step in. So let's start with custody first. Mississippi courts decide custody based on one thing: the best interest of the child. Not who's richer, not who's more fun, not who has the better Instagram account. The best interest of the child. So how do courts figure that out? That's where the Albright factors come in. The Albright case gave Mississippi courts a checklist to work through. They look at things like who provided continuity of care before the breakup, the parenting skills of each parent, the stability of the home, the emotional ties between the parent and the child, the health and the moral fitness of the parents, and the child's preference. And here's the key. No one factor decides it. The court has to balance all of them together. Now, a lot of students make the mistake of thinking, oh, whoever stayed home with the kid should win, or the mom should win. That's not true. It matters, but it's one piece of the puzzle. The law focuses on what's best for the child, not the gender of the parent. Now let's talk parentage. Mississippi law says the woman who gives birth is the legal mother, even in surrogacy cases. The husband of the woman who gives birth is presumed to be the legal father, but that presumption can be challenged with genetic testing. A sperm donor, not the legal father if the mother is married and he was just a donor. And Mississippi hasn't adopted the Uniform Parentage Act, so it doesn't automatically give rights to people who just because they acted like a parent or lived with the child. But there is an exception worth knowing for your exam, and that is in Griffith v. Pell. The court said someone who acted in loco parentis, which is in the place of a parent, might have rights even if they aren't biologically related, but that's rare and takes specific facts. Okay, now let's get into jurisdiction and venue, because even if you have the best case ever, you have to file it in the right place. Jurisdiction is the court's authority to hear the case. Without it, the court's decision is worthless. For divorce in Mississippi, at least one spouse has to have lived here for 6 months. For custody, Mississippi uses the Uniform Child Custody Jurisdiction and Enforcement Act. The basic rule: the case has to be filed in the child's home state. That would be where they lived with the parent for at least 6 months. Venue is about which county you file in. In divorce, if the defendant lives in Mississippi, you file where they live or where you last lived together as a couple. If the defendant lives out of state, you can file in your home county. Okay, don't forget mediation. Courts in Mississippi love to encourage mediation in family law cases, especially custody and visitation disputes. Mediation helps parents work things out without turning their child's life into a courtroom war. A mediator doesn't decide the case. They help the parents reach an agreement. And no, the court can't force anyone to agree at mediation. The outcomes are voluntary, because if you reach a deal and it gets entered into the court's order, then it becomes binding. Mississippi even has laws and rules like Section 93.524 and court practice rules that encourage or even allow judges to order mediation before things go to trial. It saves time, money, and stress on the kids. So for your exam, remember these key ideas. Custody is about the child's best interest. Albright gives us those factors. Parentage follows birth and marriage. Presumptions unless they are refuted. Jurisdiction matters. That's the home state rules for custody. Residency for divorce. Venue matters. Right county, right case. And mediation is encouraged but not forced. All right, so this is the final chapter of our family law saga. So watch this again if you need a refresher. Remember, you got this. I'll see you on the other side of the final exam. If you need me for any reason, just email me. I'm here.